Okay, so hello everyone, welcome to the new video. So we are going to solve a lot of practice questions today in which are basically practice questions for the code debugging round of Cognizant, right? And this video was humongously in demand. We've also updated the same, videos in our Prime Video course for Cognizant as well. So you can go ahead and purchase that. Again, the top 3 comments in the each of the video would get the Cognizant Prime Video course completely free, so you can also do that. So that would be a good thing, right? So without wasting any further time, let's go ahead and start with this, right? So first of all, this is a new round in Cognizant. So we think that there would be 7 questions, and then the time given to you would be 20 minutes, right? Now, what essentially you have to do is the whole code would be there, the whole what they are trying to. So there would be a problem statement, right? And then there would be a code. Now that code would be compiling perfectly, but there would be maybe some syntax error in the code, maybe some logical error that they've forgotten to use an equal to sign, or they've forgotten to use greater than sign or something like that, right? Or maybe a few lines are wrong in the code. So you're supposed to fix those lines and then go ahead and then run the particular program with all the test cases passing, right? So there are 3 languages, C, C++, and Java, which you can use in the exam. We are going to solve a few questions in C, we are going to solve a few questions in Java, but then again, the questions that I've taken are neutral, so that if even if you see a Java question solving a Java questions, you will not feel that okay, I don't understand the syntax, or I don't understand what is happening, I don't know Java, right? So mainly it is language independent. Only thing is, because obviously in C, C++, Java, for loop, while loop, if, else, all of them work the same way, right? So the first 2 statements instead of int main would be public static void main in Java. So that is the whole difference. In fact, we've seen that questions in Java and C, C++ in the code debugging round more or less have the same logic, right? So let's go ahead again. These are not the previous year questions of Cognizant, because this is a new round, right? So we have created these questions from our team's end, and those copyright is completely owned by Prepinsta, right? So these are only practice questions that we are discussing. But then again, in the exam, we've created them in such a way that in the exam, if you solve these questions, you will definitely have a humongous amount of help in the exam as well, right? So let's begin with the first question that we have. Okay, so what they are saying is the code given below has some logical or syntactical error. Your job is to fix the code so that it passes all the test cases, right? So maybe there's some issue in the code. You are supposed to fix that. The code is compiling perfectly, but the desired output is not coming, right? So we'll learn about that, why it is not coming. So the question is, obviously the question would be a little longer, but rather than wasting time in our class, I want to just shorten the question. Basic question is, Ria wants to find the even numbers present in the array, the total number of even numbers present in the array. So for example, the array has 10 elements. Out of that, 6 of them are even. So she wants to calculate that, right? So let's go ahead, and this is the particular question. Now before attempting the question, so let me just tell you, there could be 2 types of errors. One type is maybe there's something wrong. So for example, here the size should be not size, it should be size -1. So you're fixing it, right? So existing season is a little incorrect, so you're fixing it. Maybe an equal to sign is missing. So that is what you are maybe fixing, right? But the second type of problem that may also be there is, maybe some of the lines would be missing, right? So for example, there are supposed to be 2 lines here which are not there in the code. So you're supposed to understand and identify what seems to be the case. There could be cases wherein you're supposed to fix something also and add a few lines also, right? So that's exactly what you will be doing. So I'd give you 30 seconds for you to solve this question. This is a very easy question. The first question, I wanted to take a little basic one. Okay, so let's begin. So obviously this would be understandable by all the people, even if you're C, C++ or Java, right? You would understand because everything is the same, right? So there's public class, PSVM, and all of these, right? So the first thing that you're getting here is the array, right? So let's say 5, comma 6, comma 7, comma 8, comma 9. So that's exactly how the array you are getting. And then you have a k. K is basically, as we see, so k is used in the while loop, right? So again, just like I is used in the for loop, k is being used in the while loop. Now again, obviously counter is being used, as we can see here, to count the number of elements, right? So let's say if the array has 5 elements and out of them 3 of them are even, so in that case we are using this counter to be able to understand this, right? Now again size. So in obviously C++ people would not know this, but it's very easy to understand that, okay, using array.length you would be able to get the size, right? So maybe if it was a C code, so in that case they would have given int comma array, and they would have given, let's say, int len as an additional parameter. So which is why I said, even if you're a C++ question, the same question may also be very, very relevant for you. There would be a very slight change in this, but again, all of you would have understood perfectly, right, that you're getting size here, right? So now, while k is less than the size, right? So now a lot of you may say that, okay, not less than, it should be less than or equal to, but I'll say no. Actually, the array will say, or the size will say that, okay, my size is 5, right? But in the array the elements would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if you want to go at this, so k is less than size is perfect. You don't need to have an equal to size, less than or equal to size, right? Because in that case it will try to go at the 5th index also, and then array out of bound, the exception would come. So that array out of bounds exceptions will come, right? Now there's nothing wrong till now. Again, array of k percentage 2, right? So you'd see that, okay, this is also perfect, because if you're using percentage 2, in that case if the answer is 0, so obviously it is an even number. Then counter plus 1. So I personally think everything is correct, but when you look a little closely, you will understand that obviously, let's say in a case of for loop, I is equals to 0, I is less than n, and finally you have I plus plus. So in the case of k, it would be k plus plus. Where is the k plus plus? I don't see it, right? That's exactly. So what is missing? What is missing is that there should be a k plus plus, not here, obviously, right? So it would be, because in the case you will put brackets here. No, k plus plus should be inside this while loop, outside this if loop, right? And in either case, even if you get a even number, even if you don't get an even number, so there should be an additional line saying k plus plus before this while loop ends here. So that's exactly what you need to do. So this was an easy question, right? So again, think about it. How much time did it take for you? Again, you have to add that, maybe let's say 7 questions are there. So this would be the first question, which would be easy. If you want to clear the cutoff, I would say that you should be at least clearing of 4 to 5 correctly. I'll say 4 it was last year, but this year they'll be hiring less. So I'll say out of 7, you should do 5 at least 100% correctly. Right. So let's move ahead to the next question. Okay, so again, I'll not read the first 2 lines, we'll just go ahead. So Koteshwara wants to print the following pattern, but he's unable to do so because of some logical error. So the pattern is 1, then 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4. They're also saying based upon the number of lines. So there's some parameter. So maybe in the case they pass 4 as a parameter, so which is why 4 lines are printing. In the case if 5 was a parameter, so in that case there would be 1 additional line which would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So that's exactly what you have to do. Have a look upon this code. I will, in this particular case, give you 1 minute to solve this particular question. Okay, so let's have a look upon this one, right? So in this case, let's go ahead. So again, PSVM, public static, INJ for obviously this for loop and this for loop, right? So if I'm to tell you a little basic, right? So what would the first for loop would be doing? The first for loop is doing nothing but it is, so let's say we have 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first for loop is responsible for shifting lines. That is going to the next line, right? So that is exactly what you see, as you see that, okay, the second for loop starts here and ends here, right? However, in the first for loop, right, in this case, uh, system.out.print. Now, if you see a little closely, what this second for loop is not do, or what this outer for loop is not doing, it is not having backslash n or print ln. So in the case of C, you should be like that. Where is a backslash n, right? The lines are not shifting. So even if it prints everything perfectly, so it will print like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Rather than printing 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that would be a problem, right? So in the case of Java, what I will do is I will say print ln. In the case of C and C++, you can use backslash n. In the case of Java also, you could go ahead and use something similar, right? So that is the first issue. Now, when you run the program, you will be able to see that, okay, there are some outputs, you can see the outputs that are coming, right? Now, one more problem here that I want you to see is that, okay, if you run this program, so let's go ahead and run this particular program, right? So in the first iteration, temp is equals to digit and digit, right? Now, if you see, where is the temp used? Temp is used once here, temp is used once here. What is the point of assigning temp to digit? There is no point that we are doing it. Just temp is getting assigned the value and we are not using it anywhere. So that should give you a red flag that, okay, something is wrong. Right. Now, the next thing, if you look a little closely, right, we want 1. So let's say we want 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Now, in the case, every time my second for loops run, this digit that would be printed should be reassigned back to 1. Right. But in this case, what is happening, right? So when we run this loop first, 1 will get printed because this, right. In the second time, digit did not get reassigned to 1 again. So 2, then 3, then 4, 5. So basically what this program would do is it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So even though this is a good pattern, right, but it's a little wrong according to the expected output, right? So which is what exactly we are doing. Either we can do digit is equals to 1 before this line, right? Or there's a simple thing, right? Digit is equals to 1 is already assigned at the top. Only thing that you need to do is, rather than digit plus plus, you need to do temp plus plus, and that's done, right? But the point is, now when I've explained that, this seems easy, but I've seen people, when they give the exam, they're like, okay, I'm not able to understand it, I'm not able to get it. So with the pressure, in that case, you need to understand, if you solve these type of questions pre-hand, so you will have a little idea upon that, okay, these are the expected errors that I've seen generally happen. And when I actually give the exam, somewhere the errors would be somewhat similar, right? So that's exactly what you want and you should be doing, right? So that's pretty much about this. Let's go ahead to the next question. Okay, so what Manan wants to do is, Manan wants to reverse a string. Maybe it could be an array also, maybe it could be a string also, it depends, right? Manan wants to reverse a array. That array could be of int, that array could be of characters. In that case of characters, it's called a string, right? Now, what mistake has he made? So in that case, obviously you have to find out that and fix that, right? So again, in this particular question, uh, it's a little hard, though it's a little easy, but there are a few extra changes that you have to do. So which is why I would give you 1 minute 30 seconds for you to solve this. Okay, so let's have a look upon this particular question that we have here is, again, you have a string rearrange, you have an len that is being passed. That len will obviously have the length of the string, that is very basic. And then you have something called as temp. Obviously, when I see this, so it's again the same thing that, okay, basically swapping values, the temp is what is used for. And then again, it's k here. What they've mentioned here is, first thing, again, if I'm able to see very correctly, is, so they've mentioned k, but they are using I here. So that is the first mistake. In the case, what I would do is simply either I can change it to k, or I can, just put a comma and then write I here and then maybe remove k, right? Whatever you want to do. There are multiple ways to fix it. So that would be the first error, right? Now, in the further cases, when I see what the logic behind the program is, so it's like, okay, let's say this, let's assume it's a number, right, rather than a string. So let's say it is, let's say 2 1 3 0, right? So again, the for loop starts, we assign temp is equals to 2, then str of 2 is equals to str plus 1. So essentially, basically this and this are swapping, right? It's perfect. So again, in the next case, 1 2 3 0, then again this and this will get swapped, so it will become 1 3 2 0. Then again, finally, according to this and this will get swapped, so it will become 1 3 0 2, right? But what Manan wanted to do is, Manan wanted to reverse this. Now in this particular case, it should have had been 0 3 1 2, but our answer is something else. So obviously, the whole logic that is being used here is incorrect. Now, me as a programmer know that, okay, there's a very basic and standard program that if I want to reverse anything, right? So essentially what you do is, so let's say I have an array, right? So let's say 0 1 2 3 4, right? So if I want to reverse it, what I would do is, I would swap the first with the last, then I would swap this and this, and then I would swap this and this, let's say, right? So always I'm swapping the first number with the last number, the second last with the second last, or the second with the second last, the third with the third last. So there's a very basic approach that you can apply here, and I'll write it down for you. So basically, I'll change this whole program, right? So I will write it down for you. You will understand from that particular case scenario, right? So the first thing that I would be doing here would be, I would be writing obviously comma I here, but that's pretty basic, right? So I would do for, right? I would say I is equals to 0, right? So one more thing that I noticed, there's int here already, so we don't need to do that. That's just given for confusion, right? So for int I is equals to 0 maybe, right? So that's what exactly I was thinking. And then I would say, and that's a very basic program, so I'm not applying brain. So this is something that all the programmers know. I is equals to len divided by 2. So in fact, let me write a little more clearly. For I is equals to 0, and this will run till I is less than len divided by 2, and then I plus plus will be happening here, right? Now further, in this particular case, what so happens here is, you have now in this case I would be swapping now, right? So how I would be swapping, I would say temp is equals to str of, so let's say if the length is 7, so what is the last character in the array? It is 7 minus 1, right? Minus 1. So this is not plus, this is minus 1, right? So a of 6 would be the last element if the length is 7, right? So which is why in this particular case I would write str of len minus 1, and then the same thing, str of len minus 1 is equals to, let's say str of I, and then finally I would say str of I is equals to temp, right? So as you can see very clearly, I am swapping the zeroth number or the zeroth index with the last index, and then I keep on doing it. Obviously, I am incrementing the value of I, right? So, in this particular case, that would, in fact, rather than I did a mistake here. So, I would be writing len of 1 minus I here, right? So, again, minus I here, right? So, that's exactly what you would be doing. Or in fact, there's one more way how you can do it is you can, rather than writing this, say, in fact, very quickly, so you can, essentially very quickly, temp is equals to, let's say, str of len minus 1. You can write minus I here also if you like, and then you can write st, or there's one more way that I would be just trying to prove. So str of len minus 1, rather than I writing here, you can write str of I, and then again str of I is equals to temp. So I have recreated that, but I need to reduce my length also, so that next time when len minus 1 is being used, so in the array, the last, rather than the last, the second last is used, right? So I would do, in the last line, I would add len minus equal to 1. That is, basically it's nothing but len is equals to len minus 1. Right. So that's exactly what you want to do, is particularly change all of these lines. So that would be really, really important for all of you to understand, right? So you can write this code, you can run this code. That's exactly what it would be. What I'll also do is, because my writing was not a little clear, I would ask my editor that I'll give him the code. He would overlap the code with me, and you would be able to see the correct code that you should be using rather, right? So that's pretty much about this, right? So what they're saying is the code, and this is the first time and the only time I'll repeat that. Apart from that, we'll just go ahead. The code given below has some logical or syntactical error. Your job is to fix the code and run so that it passes all the test cases, right? And you have to get the result. So basically, the question is, and obviously it would be a long question, but I don't want you to read a long question. Rather than that, I just simply want that, okay, when we are teaching, I'll just give you a gist of what the long question would say. So basically what they're saying is, get the resultant array in descending order format, right? So the question that I'll show you, you have to make sure that whatever array is coming inside the function, the output array is in the descending order, right? So you have bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, right? All of them you have to apply in a descending order format, right? So let's begin. I'll give you approximately 30 seconds for you to understand what is wrong. Right. Obviously, this is a live lecture, so you just need to figure out what is wrong in this particular case, and then I'll explain you how this essentially would be working. Okay, so let's have a look upon this particular question that we have here, right? So essentially, what do we have here in this particular question? So in fact, let me use a white color so that you could see that properly, right? So in this case, you have the function that is sort array, right? And then you have I, j, max index and temp as a few variables, right? And then you have one for loop, and then you have max index, that is max index is equals to I, and then you have j is equals to I plus 1, and j is less than size minus 1, and then you're storing some index, right? Now, a lot of you may not understand this, but people who know data structures know that either this question is a selection sort question or and insertion sort question, right? Immediately once I see this index being stored, I know it for a fact that it's either of these, right? Now first, in our online classes, we also do the same thing, right? We see that a lot of selection, insertion, bubble sort kind of questions are asked. So we focus upon them as well in the Prime Video course. So let's first understand. So this question is essentially based on selection sort, right? So how does selection sort work? First, let me very quickly help you understand here, right? So essentially, for example, this is the array, let me use black here. So this is the array that we have 72, 50, 10, 44, 8, 20, right? Now, what do you do in selection sort is, so let's say in this particular case, we have to find the minimum value, right? And we have to sort the array. So as you can see, this array is in ascending order. Finally, right? In our question, it is in descending order, right? So whatever we are doing here, we'll do a little opposite. Instead of minimum, we would be finding maximum. So that's exactly what is happening in the question, right? So, let's understand with ascending order first, right? So what they are doing is, 8 is the minimum element that is swapped with the 0th index, right? And then, essentially, both of them are swapped. So let me tell you what exactly happens is, you start from the 0th index, and then so let us, in this case, our I value is 0. So I will start my first for loop with I is equals to 0, and then in my second for loop, my j will start from I plus 1, right? So I will start comparing from here, and here, right? So as soon as I move forward for this, I will try to find in each case that I would store the index, that is index of whichever elements is the smallest, right? So as of now, 50 is the smallest. So I will be like, okay, my minimum index has 1 value. Then again, I move ahead, 10 is smaller than my current index. So I will store that, okay, the second index is the minimum value as of now. Then again, I go to 44. Obviously, 44 is larger than my minimum index value, that is 2. So I will move ahead. Then again, I will go to 8. Then I will be like, okay, obviously, this is the smallest value. So I will change my min index value from 2 to 4 in this case. Then I move on to 20. In this case, I will be like, obviously 20 is greater than my 8 value. So I will keep my minimum index value as 4. As soon as I reach the array, what I will do is I will swap my minimum index value to the iteration of I. Right. So that's exactly what I'm doing. In the next iteration, now obviously I got my smallest element here already. So I will start from I is equals to 1. Obviously, in this case, my j for loop would be I plus 1. Right. So in this case, it would be this. So it would essentially, so my I value would be this. So my j value will start from this. So I will store same thing. This. I will find this is the minimum index. So I will swap both of them. Right. So essentially, this is what is happening. Again, if I move forward, in that case, my I value would be 2. So this would be what? And my j value would be starting from here, and here. Right. So which is why I will compare, okay, 20th is then again swapping. So one more thing that you notice is, obviously we are swapping things here, right? So I don't want to go into much detail upon it. You can obviously buy a DSA course or Cognizant course. In that case, there would be data structures video in them. But always in the selection sort, you are always free to learn. The first loop runs till size -1, and that is the I loop, and the j loop runs till size, right? Because I also want to reach to this, but then I don't want to. So if I have swapped this and this, I wouldn't go to my last element, because I would not have, j, the next value to swap it with, right? So which is why size -1. So let's go back to our previous question that we have, okay, or the question that we have, and let's try to understand exactly what is happening in this case and what is wrong in the particular program. So again, you need to be good with data structures in this case. That is what they are implying, right? So I have I and j, that is I for my for loop and j for my second for loop. Then I have max index, because I want to find the maximum index value, right? So which is why max index. And then I have temp. Now temp would be to swap values, right? So if we see this particular question, in this case, this part is used for swapping, right? So obviously it's like, temp is equals to A, then A is equals to B, and then B is equals to temp, right? You can compare it with this, it will come the same way. So there's no issue in this, right? Now, what is happening here, again, they are saying that, okay, in my second for loop, they are saying that, okay, if the current index is lesser than the max index value, then you store that the max index is, or the max index is j. So you are basically trying to find out that the lower value. So you are trying to find out the lower value in these particular lines, right? You should not be doing that. Rather than that, you are supposed to find the maximum value. You will only change. So if we go back, if we go in front of this, or if we go in this particular question, right? Here I'm supposed to find the minimum value. Just give me a second. Here I'm supposed to do it in ascending order, right? So which is why I'm finding the minimum value. I am only storing the j index or index of 8, of 10 and 20 and 44 only when my any value is smaller than the current index value, right? So in this particular case, what we need to do is, and again maybe you will not understand this because you've not done DSA properly, this particular sign, or in fact let me use white color here. So this particular sign here should not be less than, it should be greater than sign, because you are supposed to find the max value, right? So again, this would be the first thing. One more problem that I am able to identify here is that my size -1. So in this case, the first one is supposed to run till size -1, and then the second one is supposed to run at till size. So again, you will say, Atulya, I did not know all of these things. Do you expect me to know all of these things in the exam? Yes, I do. The reason being, they're asking questions based upon DSA. If you're not able to understand by just looking at this question that it's a selection sort or insertion sort question. So I will in the first 5 seconds understand that it's a selection sort or insertion sort question. I will take the next 10 seconds to understand that, okay, it's a selection sort question based upon the code, right? It's a very standard code of selection sort, right? So which is what exactly we would be doing. Now, moving further, how do you want to prepare? So, I've taken some basic introduction about, how do you go ahead and, what kind of questions are asked, right? Now, there are a few questions that we've taken, the pattern-based questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, the, even odd questions and things like that, the array-based questions like these, right? So how do you essentially prepare for this further, right? So you can go ahead and join our Prime video course for Cognizant. With that, again, the pattern has changed a little. So you would get your quants and logical, you would get your automata fix, there would be a lot of practice questions that would be given to you. Again, this is a new section, so which is why practice questions would be what you should be doing again, because there's no previous year papers of the same. So which is why we have created new questions like these from our own team, and that is what you would be able to practice. So there would be approximately 40-50 practice questions for you to practice again. Then since there would be additional round which would be focusing upon data structures as well, so the C++ and data structures course would be completely free of cost with you in that. That C++ and data structures course itself is an 80-hour course, right? So that would not just be helpful for Cognizant but for other companies as well. But then again, you are preparing for TCS and Wipro and Infosys and all of these companies like Wipro and LTH. So I would rather say that, okay, you can go ahead and buy the Prime video course for Cognizant. But it would be a little better that if you go ahead and buy the Royal Pass. Royal Pass is like a package of everything that we offer. So, aptitude course, C++, DSA, Python, nano degree courses with which you get certifications, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, CoCubes, eLitmus, TCS Ion, CCQT. So all of these exams is what also you would be getting as a package. So that would be really, really helpful for you. Again, in future, we are going to launch machine learning, artificial intelligence, front end, back end, React, Node.js, and all of these courses. So that would be included in them as well. Again, if I've missed anything particularly, you can always comment that in the comment section. I will always be replying to you, or my team would. Again, you could also stand a chance to win, as I said, the top 3 comments in each and every video, get the Prime video courses. So we just reply to all of those comments. We ask them that, okay, now we've replied to your comment. Just take a screenshot of it, send this to us on support@prepinsta.com and we'll enable your course. So that's exactly what you can do. It could be anything like your experience with PrepInsta, maybe good or maybe bad also, right? We can't do anything perfect. Or maybe, how this video helped you, or maybe a doubt that I've forgotten to cover in this particular video. So that's pretty much about it. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Again, Cognizant hires multiple times throughout the years, unlike other companies which have only one off-campus drive in 1 year. Cognizant does that 3-4 times, right? So, for Cognizant and all other off-campus companies, make sure that you follow us on our Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn. The link to, again, all of them would be in the description below. So whenever they hire, we would post that on our Instagram. So that would be very, very helpful for you as well. And again, make sure that you do subscribe. We have a membership also going on our YouTube channel. So you can click upon join. There are humongous good perks also with that. So you can check that out as well. So thank you all of you. All the very best. And make sure that you work hard.